Hello, and welcome to the Intermission podcast. I'm Fabian. We're a Dallas sports podcast. Once again, I'm alone. Once again, I'm not home. Sorry if the background hurts your eyes a little bit. Some people said they liked it. I don't know. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, I can't be with Isaiah again this week. I'm still out of town. I didn't expect to be, but we'll make the best of it. We'll go with it. Um, it's really unfortunate because I do think there was a decent amount of stuff to talk about this week, but I'll try to be the yapper and the yappist, and say everything I feel like needs to be said. Again, Isaiah sent me some of his thoughts, and try to express those, but I might get lost in the sauce. But like I said, there's some stuff to talk about this week, so I'm gonna hop straight into the Rangers. Of course, this week we played two series. One against the White Sox, and one against the Royals. Both at home. Against the White Sox, pretty good series. The first game was a bullpen game. Armstrong, 3 innings pitched, 0 hits, 5 strikeouts. He started us off, and then Webb came in, 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, also no runs. Hobie Milner was the only one that allowed any runs. He came in and only got 1 out, allowed 3 hits and 1 earned run. But everyone else in our bullpen did a great job. We ended up winning this game 3-1. Josh Smith was actually all of our runs. Got driven in by Seager and Simeon on obviously 2 different plays, and then had himself a solo home run. In the ninth, I was watching this game, or at least the end of it. I didn't get to watch all of it, but in the ninth, Robert Garcia had them with bases loaded with only 1 out, but he managed to get out of it. So nerve-wracking, but he didn't even allow a single run. Got out of it, got another save for him. So that was his 5th save. So can't be mad, just get nervous in the moment. In this game, we were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position and left 7 on base. I'll come back to that later. You might be wondering why I'm bringing it up. I'll come back to this stuff later, but I'm saying it now because I think it's important. Game 2 against the White Sox. We actually go into extra innings, still come out on top, win 5-4. Going into extra innings with the White Sox doesn't feel good. Obviously, they showed a lot of fight in this game, and I think they earned their runs. But that makes it worse because they really should have beat us, because the only reason we even made it to extra innings and by extension even won the game were because of 2 errors by the White Sox. I believe it was Corey Seager scores on a wild pitch, and then Garcia strikes out immediately after that, and then there was a throwing error to first that allows the other run to score. We should not have even made it to extra innings, let alone won this game. But we did. Garcia walks it off in the 11th. But it doesn't feel good against the White Sox to go into extra innings and have to rely on extra innings, have to rely on errors to win the game. But 17 left on base, 4 for 23 with runners in scoring position. Game 3 against the White Sox, we won that game 2-1. It was supposed to be a bullpen game, but because we used so many pitchers in the extra inning game, we called Rocker back up. He threw 5 innings pitched, 4 hits and no earned runs. Had himself a pretty quality start. He chugged a couple bottles of pickle juice. Every starter besides Higashioka had a hit. Most of them, I think only one starter had 2 hits, though. But every starter had at least one, except for Higashioka. In this game, 11 left on base, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Yeah. Sorry. Let me talk about this series a little bit. We were supposed to have a second bullpen game because Molly's having some shoulder issues, which is the same shoulder, same issues that took him out last season. So we're being precautionary with him, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. But yeah, we called up Rocker. This series against the White Sox, I mean, we swept them, and we should sweep teams like the White Sox if we want to be taken seriously. And this series actually brought us to 500 even. We didn't stay there, but this series brought us to 500 even. But leaving too many runners on base. First game 7, not too bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not too bad. Leaving 7 on base. Second game, 17 left on base, and only 2 of those are Manfred men. Just terrible. And 4 for 23 with runners in scoring position is pretty abysmal. Game 3, 11 left on base, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. I added on here, or was that next? That's next series. Excuse me. Our bats are warming up again. In that game 3, every starter except for one had a hit, and a decent amount were on base multiple times. 11 runners left on base. That means we had men on base, but we're just not hitting when men are on base. We're not taking our chances. I think I said one sentence of this last week, but when I was talking about one of our losses, but this week made it more apparent that it's an actual issue. We're getting hits that don't matter, and we're not getting hits when they do matter. We need to get hits when there are runners on base, especially when there are runners in scoring position, and we're just not getting that. And we won the series against the White Sox. I mean, we swept them, but despite that, as we'll see in the series against the Royals, that's not something sustainable. When you're facing even decent pitching, even though the Royals have pretty good pitching, facing good pitching, and when our pitchers struggle a little bit. So we'll move on to that. The series against the Royals obviously went opposite to our series against the White Sox. In Game 1, Leiter, 5.2 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, had a rough start. It happens. I mean, Leiter is obviously probably the weakest piece in our pitching rotation. But again, with how good our pitching rotation is, and how pretty good Leiter has been. I mean, especially for a young guy, especially for his first, what's looking to be like his first full season in the MLB, he's not pitching terribly. He's pitching like a good 5 spot, and we obviously expect him to get better. But unfortunate start for him, and we couldn't get it out. We got 1 run, which was Alejandro Osuna, and I believe the 4th inning. It was his first career RBI, so congrats to Osuna. Hopefully he can become someone, obviously. But in that game, 7 left on base, 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That one is Osuna. Garcia, and I mean, I like Garcia and everything, but Garcia went 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position in this game. And that's just not something you want from one of your big names and from one of your big bats. He needs to get hit. At least put the ball in play. Get yourself an RBI. Hit a deep fly ball, something. Let someone tag up. But he didn't do that, and he hasn't been doing that, and it's been an issue. Give me 1 second. See, normally I get to drink when Isaiah's talking, but I don't have that luxury right now. Sorry if my chair is loud. Also, Game 2, we lose 6-3. Game 1, we lost 6-1. I don't know if I said that. Game 2, we lose 6-3. Corbin, 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. All 4 of those runs come off of a grand slam. But either way, tough start, tough inning for him. I mean, it was just that 1 inning, but I mean, 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. Not a great start. Not a terrible start again. I mean, we're used to having great starts this season. I mean, that's not a terrible start either. Excuse me. And then the 2 more earned runs off of Milner in the 8th. Those were just good old-fashioned RBIs. In this game, 9 left on base. We were 5 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Actually got ourselves a couple of runs. Excuse me. Haggerty and Langford did most of the damage. They both had 3 hits each. I believe they accounted for 2 of our 3 RBIs. The other one was, I believe, Garcia, actually. That's kind of the thing that's been happening these last 2 weeks too. Our strong part of the lineup, which because Bochy's has been playing it that way, which I mean is how you're supposed to play, is usually a top 4. Have been doing most of the damage. It's been Smith, Langford, and then Simeon, who's been on a roll. And then the third person has been changing every now and then. This game it was Haggerty. Sometimes it's Young. Sometimes it's Berger. And it's been Garcia once or twice. That for some reason, even though they haven't been good for most of the season, these last couple of games, these last couple of series in the top 4, because there's actually runners in scoring position because Langford and Smith and Simeon have been getting on base and have been actually putting the ball in play and all that. They're actually doing damage when they're put in those spots. So I don't know. It's tough when you look at the box score and all of the hits and all of the runs are from 3 guys in the lineup. You can't just have one strong part of the lineup. And I mean, if there's any part that should be a strong part of the lineup, it's the top 4, which is what has been the case. But you don't want the rest of the lineup to be cannon fodder. Yeah. I can't. I don't know how else I can express it. Besides, you need the whole team to hit, not just the guys that are actually hitting. Which it's great that we actually have some guys that are actually hitting now, but we want more of that. Game 3 against the Royals was another bullpen game. We lose this one 4-1. Armstrong, 1 inning pitched, 2 earned runs. Then Latz comes in, 5.2 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Latz had a pretty great game. Basically starter level game, amount of innings and had himself a good run. And then the 4th run was off of Robert Garcia in the 9th. We only had 3 hits in this game. Left 5 on base. It was those 3 hits plus 2 walks. And then we were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. So we just had, this was just not a good offensive game in any way, shape, or form. And, it was our best pitching game of the series. We only allowed 4 runs. And, again, it was a bullpen game, which should have been, theoretically, our worst pitching game of the series. But our pitching just built like that this season. Sorry, excuse me. I guess you could say tough series from our pitchers, but I'm not going to say that. You can't expect them to have great games every game. And again, they didn't even have terrible games. They just had decent, mediocre games. But it doesn't matter. We scored 1 run, 3 runs, and then 1 run. So it's not like it matters. If the team only needs to score 2 runs to win the series, 2 runs in every game to win the series, the issue's with the offense and not with the pitching. I don't want to see people get mad at pitchers. Same way. I hate when people get mad at Otter in hockey. I don't know why I'm bringing up hockey right now. I'm going on a rant. I'm in solo guy mode. But you can't... So when your units are doing good, when your players are doing this, when this thing, you're so used to it doing great, you complain when it does even decent or mediocre or average. and then you whine about it. It's ridiculous. Learn what the heck you're talking about. So don't don't complain about Otter. Otter's a great goalie, but also I really like there should be no complaining about pitching. Our entire bullpen has been doing great, and when they're not, Bush Bochy sends them down and calls up someone else, and then they do great. I mean, Latz again has been an excellent addition, and when T finally got called up, and after he got out of his injury, our pitching is doing great. I mean, this isn't a secret, but again, people still rag on the relievers, and it's like they're our bullpen's doing so good, dude. And our bats just aren't there, obviously. Evaldi and Mully still on the injured reserve. Again, Evaldi still has his tricep strain issue, and Mully again has a shoulder tightness, which again is an injury in the area he's been injured in before. So we're being really cautious with him. So we'll see with that. Josh Smith didn't play in the last game against Kansas City. But to what I understand, it shouldn't be too serious of an injury. So hopefully we get him back soon, especially considering he's our best hitter this year. But yeah. Our next series is against Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh. And I think we need to win this series, but we're facing the weaker part of their pitching lineup. Their batting is pretty abysmal, as is ours, obviously. But again, I don't think last week was a fluke. And our guys who are hot were still hot this week, even though the rest of our team slowed down a little bit. They still did better again. Even in the games where I think we're saying, hey, we didn't do enough. We definitely have been doing better than recently. So I think I'm just gonna say I think we sweep the Pirates. If we do, I'm feeling really, really good. If we win the series, I'm feeling just okay. Feeling about the same. We lose the series, I'm feeling a little bad. We get swept, I'm gonna become an alcoholic probably. If we get swept in this series, I think you stick a fork in it. I don't see us going anywhere in this season. But I do think the most likely outcome of this series is we sweep the Pirates, and I hope that's the case. Obviously, I hope that's the case, but I do think that's most likely the outcome. Again, facing the weaker part of their pitching rotation, which is outside of Paul Skeens, their pitching rotation is decent. It's average level. And again, their batting is not good. Our pitching is great. We're not even projected to have a bullpen game against them. So, I do believe that most likely outcome of this series is we sweep the Pirates. But I'm almost certain we at least win the series, and if I'm wrong about that, I'm in a bad way. And if I'm really wrong about that, I'm in an even worse way. I don't want to be in that universe where that doesn't happen. So I really think we win the series again. I think the most likely outcome is we sweep the series. I think we have the momentum. I think the momentum's real. And again, even though we just got swept this last series against the Royals, I feel like it's this speed bump. I don't know. Maybe I'm being delusional. But I was just looking at the numbers when I'm making my notes, and I'm looking at my notes here. I was just looking at the numbers, and my brain was saying, I think we sweep the Pirates. We don't face their best pitching. Their batting is mid. We got our good pitchers up against them. I say we sweep the Pirates. I'm saying it. After the Pirates, we play Baltimore, again at Baltimore. They're having a bad year, but they've been pretty hot recently. I do think we win this series, cool them off a little bit. I mean, they're already getting kind of cooled off in their series right now. that just ended, or well, that's not just ended, but the series that they're playing right now. We cool them off a little bit more, but I don't see any way we sweep Baltimore, because again they've been hot. Um, but again they just lost the series they're playing right now to the Rays, so we don't think we sweep them. I don't think there's any way we sweep them, but I do think we win that series against Baltimore. And I feel even more confident about that if we do what I think I expect us to do against Pittsburgh. I don't know if my hand's in frame or not, but it's not like I'm doing anything important with it. That's my analysis. Okay, should I start keeping track? Right predictions, wrong predictions. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Rangers. And again, it's the same issues we've been having all season, but it's getting better. I think now it's less about hitting in general, which we weren't doing at all. Like the fact that we're leaving runners on base, and that we can point at the stat and say, oh, look at our numbers with runners in scoring position. The fact that there are even runners in scoring position means we're getting better than we were at the start of the year when there were just no runners at all, even a little bit. And I think we're going to keep going in the right direction to actually being at least a decent offense. And I think even a decent offense with our pitching sweeps the Pirates. Again, official prediction and prayer that I'm putting out there. But yeah, that's the Rangers. I'm going to move on to basketball and talk about Mavs. This is some stuff that, well, first of all, the NBA draft is coming up next week, June 25th and 26th. I believe Wednesday and Thursday. Let me double check that. It's either Wednesday and Thursday or Thursday and Friday. But I believe it's Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday. This coming Wednesday and Thursday. So me and Isaiah might stream that, and if not, we're at least gonna have a pretty extensive talk about what happens on the podcast next week. The Dallas Mavericks, hopefully it's extensive. The Dallas Mavericks only have one draft pick in this coming draft, which is the first overall pick. But there's a lot of talk that we want to trade to get another pick in the first round, even not just in general, but another pick in the first round. And obviously we're expected to pick Cooper Flag, and if we don't, Isaiah might become an alcoholic. No. But yeah, we're expected to pick Cooper Flag with the first overall pick. And then again, we're expected to trade someone or something to get another pick. Again, supposedly in the first round, but in general, supposedly Nico's looking into trading to get another pick. But yeah, keep your eye on that. Again, we might be streaming that, me and Isaiah. But yeah. And moving to the Dallas Wings, they had a week. First of all, Maddie Segrist, she actually injured herself in the game, last week's game against the Phoenix Mercury. Doesn't require surgery. She's expected to recover before the end of the season and come back, which is good news. They didn't know if it was going to require surgery at first or not, but it's not looking like it. Second thing that happened this week, which is actually after one of the games, but I'm bringing it up right now. We traded for center Liu Yeru, I believe that's how it's pronounced, from the Seattle Storm in exchange for a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 third-round pick. Lee Yeru had requested a trade because she didn't feel like she was getting enough minutes. She already played in her first game with us. And Isaiah has some thoughts about that. I have some thoughts about that, but I'll talk more about her after I cover the games. June 13th, against the Las Vegas Aces, we lose 88-84. Enrique led us in points and assists with 26 and 8 respectively. Dejounte Carrington led us in rebounds with 8. Here's the thing. We were winning this game 82-71 with 3:55 left to play in the fourth quarter. We didn't score from 3:55. We didn't score until there was 8 seconds left to, I believe, bring us within 2. So we had a meltdown. In the last 4 minutes of this game. We had a meltdown. They went on a. Excuse me. They went on a, I believe, 13-0 run, and then we scored 2 free throws, and they scored another 2. So I believe it was a 15-2 run to end the game. We fell apart in the fourth again. We are having just an awful time closing out halves, and especially games, and especially the fourth quarter. We're just not closing it out. And in this game, it hasn't necessarily been the case for every game when but it has happened a couple times this season. But especially in this game, the bench didn't do anything. The bench didn't do anything in this game, like at all. Yeah, sorry. We were actually down going into the third, and to open the third, we had an 18-0 run. Again, we're having good starts, and then we're not able to shut out the halves. Not necessarily every time, obviously. Sometimes we have rough first quarter, but I feel we've been doing a lot better in the first and third quarter than we have in the second and fourth quarter. Here's some of what Isaiah is saying. Some of the stuff I kind of said last week. Is we're giving them easy points. We're giving them easy layups without having to move the ball too much. We're just giving them too much space. Ugly fourth quarter, he said. And he said, especially in this game, we were giving them way too many easy drives to the paint without having to do much of anything. Just being weak on-ball defense and letting them sort of muscle past us and by us into the paint, getting pretty easy layups. June 17th, though, hey, we win 80-71 against Golden State Valkyries. Paige Beckers led us in points with 20. Enrique led us in assists with 6. Alyssa Smith, 10 rebounds. Enrique also had 19 points. She had those 6 assists and 3 steals. The team actually had a combined 12 steals this game. Beckers had 4 of them. So Beckers and Enrique combined had 7 steals, and pretty good. That's pretty good. Those turnovers were a big reason we won this game, like a huge reason we won this game. It was their first home win of the season. But what I want to point out for this game, we did a really good job sort of closing out this game, especially our top 2, Beckers and Enrique. They both had some pretty clutch moments in the last 5 minutes of the game. Both had nice threes in the last 5 minutes, and then Enrique had a pretty big steal that, we were already winning, but sort of, expanded that lead. Kayla Charles off the bench had 10 points, 3 steals, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. She had roughly 20 minutes, but that's production off the bench we haven't been really getting, at least not from one player. They had 3 steals off the bench, pretty big. 5 more than the points. 3 steals, 5 rebounds, 4 assists off the bench is pretty good. She had starter level numbers, not star player level numbers, but starter level numbers off the bench, and that feels pretty good to have. Lieru, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Had her Wings debut. She got 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Isaiah says, These are some of Isaiah's thoughts. He said even though she only had 2 rebounds, he really liked what he saw from her defense, and hopes that we can incorporate her more defensively in the future. Obviously, she came here for more minutes. I'm guessing there was some sort of you'll get a little more playing time, which I here than she would in Seattle. So I think we'll be seeing a little bit more of her. Um, and obviously, she's just getting comfortable. And Isaiah really thinks that she could help pick up our defense, which obviously, as we've been saying, has been a really lacking side. Am I coming off of? No, I'm not. Has been a really lacking side of our game. I mean, our defense. The defense is the reason we're losing. Again, I'm looking at the stats. I was looking at the stats earlier today. I was like, earlier today, because I saw the game against the Aces, and I was looking at the stats, taking my notes, and I saw just how awful we had been off the bench in that game. But in terms of how we've been this season, we're second in points off the bench, and second in what was the other stat? Our bench has been doing pretty good if you're looking strictly at the numbers. Again, against the Aces, they did pretty terrible, if I'm being honest. But that made me look at our bench stats, and we were second in points. I think second or third in rebounds off the bench. So it's like you look at at least our offensive stats, and you're like, why are we 2-11? And it's because of our defensive stats, fully through, all the way through. We have at least average or good offensive stats. And excuse me, I don't want to sneeze into the bike. Excuse me. It's our defense. So again, these are some of our Isaiah's thoughts. He said these 2 games were almost the same defensive shooting, need to be improved. That's the same thing too. Again, I brought it up last week. We have a good amount of field goal attempts. The thing that might be lacking on our offense is our percentages. But even again, their average, it's just our defense is so bad. But with the amount of attempts we have, if they were good, then that would cancel out. But really, I'd rather our defense get better than just us having more consistent shooting. Even though consistent shooting is always a good thing. And we had too many sloppy turnovers. Isaiah wants to point out that he feels that he can see that the defense is getting better, and that players are getting more aggressive, trying to make layups. Trying to make layups. He feels like that's got a little bit more consistent this week. But he still doesn't like the 3-point shooting. For the most part, I gotta agree. I think our 3-point is pretty middling. Again, he feels like this team has a lot of potential, and we gotta finish out games, and not the way we did against the Aces. But we have the talent to be competitive, and we should be. This is Isaiah's thoughts, and I agree with him on a lot of this stuff, on most of it. As far as Lee Yeru goes, she's as far as the WNBA goes, she's been a career backup in Seattle. That's kind of why she wanted to get out of there. I don't, in terms of advanced stats and all that, in terms of like per minute stats, I don't see so much from her. But she's a big body, obviously with, with Seagrass injured, who was one of our bigger rebounders. Hopefully Lee can fill that slot. And again, Isaiah said he liked what he saw from her defensively, and so hopefully she can become like a defensive big for the Wings, and I'd be more than happy for that. But um, I don't know if I'm definitely right now. I'd say uh, I'm not in love with the trade, but I hope it pans out, and I think it can pan out. But um, I'm not in love with it. But I think it's something we did because we needed depth with Seagrass injured. Um, I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I'm not 100% on how picks are weighted in the WNBA draft, but feels like a second and a third. It just feels like a little much, even though it's not that much. It just, again, from the per minute stats, I'm not in love with Lee. Um, but again, I hope it works out. And again, I don't know how big the weight of each pick is in WNBA compared to something like the NFL, where I'm pretty like, I know that number means a lot. For I don't know if third round is not much of anything or what, but um, I hope she pans out. And again, um, I hope she can be like the rebounder and defensive player is really what I'm expecting from her. I'm not expecting to get points from her. I hope she can sort of blossom into someone who gets a lot of boards, someone who intimidates people in the paint. This is what I want to see from her. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But that's what I got for basketball. I'm going to turn to soccer with my FC Dallas boys. Had a good game this week. We won no, we didn't. We won 4-2, which brought us to 5-6-6. Now 10th in the West. Started the game off. Didn't feel great. They scored. Kansas City scored in the 8th minute off of a nice shot. It was a nice shot from pretty far away, but the defense was poor. I mean, we gave them so much space, so much time to line up the shot however we wanted. And, I mean, again, nice shot. Stuck it in the corner from just outside the box. It was a pretty kick, but we didn't put any pressure on them to prevent that. So, yeah, I didn't like the defense in that play. But just a couple minutes later, in the 11th minute, clean passing by us, sort of back and forth, allows Pilar Musa to score with the assist being credited to Shaq Moore. And then pretty quiet for a while. There were a couple chances, but nothing too scary. The really goals were scored on most of the quality chances in this game. In the 59th minute, there was a penalty. We drew a penalty, and Acosta buried it to give us the lead. Not too long after, a couple minutes after that, KC received a red card. It's, I believe, the same player that gave us the penalty, got a second yellow. That's an instant red. Got out of there. They were man down for the rest of the game. We got our third goal. Sorry, I didn't write the minute for this one. Sorry. But we got our third goal off of a goalie deflection. It was a shot by, I believe, Pilar Musa, and then deflected straight to Bernard Kamungo. I want to say he did a great job of just by staying on sides. He was right where he needed to be and was prepared for that deflection. So good on him. And way to stay on sides, a way to be like aware of that. I mean, it's something you should do, but like it was really close. But I feel like it was clearly intentional that like he knew where he was in relation to the defender, and knew where he wanted to be in relation to the ball and the goalie, and was prepared for that. And I mean, he picked the ball up confidently, put it in the empty net. Good job there. In the 86th minute, or not the 82nd minute, a nice leading pass by Nolan Norris, and good dribbling moves from Acosta, sort of get a little hoop, gets past the defender, and then is in a little whoop, gets past the goalie, has a wide open net, finishes it, gets his second of the game. Um, Scoring from Musa and Acosta, big. There are two of our, you know, bigger weapons in the offense, and they've been pretty slow to start the season. And so this game felt pretty good. Obviously, KC's not a powerhouse or anything. It feels pretty good, and it's like hopefully it gets them started and gets them scoring more goals than they have been. Then in the 91st minute, poorly timed interception attempt lets KC score their second. But for the most part, this is a really good game by Dallas. Obviously, this is another game where they were down a man. Well, actually, no, last game we were down a man. My brain decided to be backwards, but they were down a man for most of this game. Or not most of this game, but for a decent amount of this game. But we had the lead even before that. And I feel like all of our goals were pretty quality. I mean, there was no sense of luck in really any of our goals. We took our chances. Again, the assists were really nice. It just felt different. This was a good, we felt confident when we were attacking. I think our defense is honestly felt a little weaker than it has a little bit. Like, it felt less confident, I guess. But, I mean, it amount to much. They only scored 2 goals, 2 our 4. We ended up winning the game. And I'm hoping that our offense keeps going in that direction. Our defense returns to pretty decent to good where it has been. And our goalie play stays around there as well. I mean, I think we can be better than what we are right now. Obviously, we're 10th in the West, 5, 6, and 6. I'm trying to go back to being 3 of the same number. Oh, hopefully. I mean, I guess hopefully, but that's going to be an unfortunate looking record. But this was a good game. And I think this game, along with last week's game against Philadelphia, means we're building towards the right direction against last week's game against Philadelphia. For half the game, we were down a man. We still managed to tie the best team in the league. So I feel like we're building in the right direction. Hopefully build up a little more momentum. Crawl out of mediocrity and that mid-table place we've been for the last, 3 years. And become high mid-table. I mean, you got to start somewhere. And I think we have the chances to be there. I think we should be there, honestly. But they suck. Now, it's time to talk hockey. This week, obviously, Florida. Florida finally, or not finally, but Florida repeats. They beat the Oilers, win the Stanley Cup. Congratulations, Florida. But immediately after, Stars start making some moves. Like I said, I want to do sort of a thing into what I think we should do this offseason. Now that the season's actually over, now that the Cup's over. And we'll see if we either do that next week. If nothing too crazy happens with the draft, we'll do that. Plus our Stars predictions, plus our Rangers and Mavs coverage, and Rangers and Wings coverage. So it's either next week's going to be a doozy, or in 2 weeks will be extra fancy. Or in 2 weeks will be when we get to that, but I don't want to wait that long because, again, moves are already being made. First off, we signed 2 goalies, 2-way contracts. One for 2 seasons and one for 1 season. Remy Poirier to a 2-way contract through the 2026-2027 season. And then Ben Cross for 1 year, so just till the next season. They're both been in our system for a while. Both have been decent in our system for a while. Uh, I expect them to become the backup goalie if DeSmith has tough games like he did for most of the regular season this season. He towards the end he picked it up, which is kind of when we wanted him to. Um, but he was pretty bad for most of the season. So um, I'm guessing we signed these guys as sort of a hey, whichever one does better in the minor leagues, in the lower leagues, we'll call up if DeSmith is struggling. So we'll see if we see them or not, but we made those two signings. And then we extended Matt Duchene for 4 years through the 2028-2029 season. Duchene, his 2025 season, was very successful. He had the most assists of his career with 52, the second most points of his career with 82. However, he also, and this was something I ragged on him about for a decent amount of the season, he had the most giveaways of his career with 78. And like he had a pretty awful playoffs. Like, pretty awful. In the playoffs, all you really saw from Duchene were those giveaways. You didn't really see any other points or the assists. So hopefully that's not a thing, and that's not playoff Duchene. And we know it's not. I mean, we've had great playoffs with him before. I mean, last year. But, sorry if that was a little too mumbly. But, I didn't realize how great of a season he had, like, statistically. And, like, what a career season he had before looking at the stat for this signing. Maybe that's just because I was tainted by how bad those playoffs were. I was like, dang, he kind of had a weak season. And my sister kept saying, oh my God, Duchene's having bad playoffs. I was like, yeah, he is. And I guess I only remembered all the turnovers he had, all the giveaways, which again, that is an issue. But in his second most, in his most points, second most assist season, is he had, I think, only one less turnover. So I don't know. I guess when he decides to score a lot, he also decides to turn the puck over a lot. But I don't know. I guess I just had a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't realize how good Duchene had it this season. And I mean, I'm glad we're extending him. I like Dutchy a lot. And so I'm glad we keep him around. I hope he keeps having good seasons. And hopefully he plays more like he did last playoffs than he did this playoffs in the future, which I expect to be in the playoffs in the future. We still haven't signed a coach or anything, but Duchene was a little more outspoken, especially after DeBoer got fired, about how he didn't love how the coaching went in the playoffs. So we'll see if he adapts to the new coach well. I mean, it's something that it seems like, obviously he didn't say these word for word, it seems like he wants a new head honcho over there. So hopefully that turns out well and ends up the way he wants it. Furthermore, we traded Marchment. We traded Marchment to Seattle for a 2025 fourth round pick and a 2026 third round pick. Feels bad to see Mush go, but he had just a decent season. I mean, it was like it was still like in the top half of like his career seasons, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Plus, he was a penalty liability. I mean, that's sort of what he's been all his entire career. I think my ring light got a little weaker, so I'm sorry if the lighting changed. I think my ring light's dying. Almost wrapped up here though, so just hold out. But yeah, March. I like the guy. I loved having him on the Stars, but he was a big penalty liability again, especially in the playoffs. It's like they became the worst parts of themselves. Some of our players. That's the thing. sorry, I'm gonna get a little sidetracked here. Like, honestly, I feel like all of our players had a pretty only decent to bad playoffs, and we still made it to the Western Conference Finals, which I think tests to how good of our team was built. Which, like, if our players were on on the ball, on the puck, if they were on it, I like, oh, but whatever. We're gonna be there next season. We're gonna have a season this next season. Um, Rumors are that we trade Robo. I really hope we don't, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But those are the rumors. I'll get more into that hopefully next week, maybe the week after. But yeah, we're sending March to Seattle. Getting 2 picks back. We need this move to 1, clear up cap space. We will mostly to clear up cap space, and then mostly to clear up cap space. I mean, I think if we had unlimited money, we'd keep March. But this is a move to clear cap space. Hopefully lets us keep Robo around. But sad to see Mush go. Hope he has good luck in Seattle. Hope he does well in Seattle. But I do think it was a move that kind of needed to be made, especially if we want to keep Robo around. So, best of luck to Mush in Seattle. I think he'll look good in a Kraken jersey, and I hope he does good over there. There's a chance to be, a pretty good, important piece to them. So we'll see what comes of that. But that's what I got this week. Again, next week I think we're gonna have a little bit more. Again, I should be with Isaiah, barring something crazy happening. I'll definitely be back home. We'll be back to our normal gray wall set. I'll have my sign up here. But hopefully we'll get into off-season talk with Isaiah next week. NBA Finals is going to Game 7. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's all I got for you this week. I hope it was good. I feel like it was a decent episode, so I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. And if you made it this far, comment Big Dutch. And we'll catch you later. See you next week. Oh, disclaimer. I should have said this at the start of the video. But this was filmed Thursday night after I watched the US Saudi Arabia soccer game. So if there's any news that comes out Friday morning that we don't cover, that I didn't cover, I'm sorry. I'm going to be traveling back home tomorrow. That's why I had to film it tonight. So if there's anything that happens this morning, Friday morning, not my fault. Blame the dentist. But yeah, again, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. See you next week, hopefully. Every Friday.